Nearly 20 out-of-date items are currently silently languishing in the homes of the average American senior. Initially, they could appear innocuous. A kitchen appliance that hasn't been used in years, a piece of furniture that has always been there, or a pile of papers you intended to organize. Here's the reality, though. These aren't merely dust collectors. They accumulate stress. They pose risks in silence. They occasionally even carry a shade of shame or remorse. Consider it. Why? How often have you entered your kitchen, living room, or even your bedroom and experienced an unexplainable weight? You witnessed more than just the mess. It was the burden of things that are no longer useful to you. Things that are from a different stage of life, but nevertheless have a place in your current one. Additionally, you've stopped recognizing them because they've been there for so long. Even though they subtly drain your space and your energy, they have become a part of the backdrop, like wallpaper you no longer question. What do you still have in your house that doesn't support your current way of living, but you've been too accustomed to seeing it to notice? You might be surprised by the response. You can't unsee it after you've seen it. When you enter your house and think, something here just feels heavy, you're not the only one. Because we're revealing the old things that nobody else discusses, but that might be preventing you from moving forward more than you think, you should subscribe. The first is the Hefty heirloom that dominates the space. Almost every senior in America has a single piece of furniture that takes up the majority of the room. Perhaps a china cabinet so hefty it feels like it's cemented into the floor, or a huge dining table that hasn't been used for a family get-together in years. In the past, these heirlooms held significance as family hammer-ons, wedding presents, parent gifts, or pride emblems. They stood for custom, security, and even prosperity. However, these large pieces now serve a completely different purpose for many people over 60. Your rooms are overcrowded. They restrict your freedom of movement and subtly bring up memories of a past you might no longer even be living. Consider it. When was the last time 12 people gathered around a huge table? It's been decades for most. Kids have grown up. Families reside in many states, and restaurants or other smaller, cozier venues are frequently used for contemporary gatherings. The table still takes up a third of your dining area, though, and you have to squirm to get past it. Or that cabinet of china. It has fragile glassware you're too afraid to use, dishes you never touch, and shelves that collect dust more often than they preserve memories. This is the emotional burden. These things are more than just square footage. They occupy mental space. I can't get rid of this. What if my children want it one day? Or this was expensive. I'd feel guilty letting it go. These thoughts may cross your mind every time you pass by, and that guilt serves as the link that keeps you attached to an item that no longer sustains your everyday existence. And guilt isn't the only factor. It also has to do with safety. Oversized heirlooms make your home more difficult to maneuver, obstruct light, and impede pedestrian paths. They contain more than simply memories. They are dangerous. Here's the new viewpoint now. Your family is not destroyed when you give up one heirloom. It doesn't take away from the laughter you spent around that table, or the holidays you used to host. You, not the wooden glass, are the home of those memories. You're not losing history when you get rid of furniture that doesn't fit your lifestyle. You're becoming more independent. Imagine having a lighter, safer, and more convenient dining area. Imagine having a private dinner with a close friend at a smaller table that you can actually reach across, rather than gazing across a piece of wood intended for a seldom present throng. Select a single, meaningfully significant portion rather than clinging to the entire piece. Take a single piece of wood from the heirloom, a plate, or even a serving spoon. Make it something you love and use. A daily mug, a framed memento, or a memory you can live with. In this manner, you pay respect to the past without allowing it to suffocate your present. You know your house isn't a museum after all. Relics aren't supposed to be on display for guests who no longer visit. It is intended to support you in your current physical state and way of living. Additionally, a lighter heirloom may mean more space where you may truly feel unrestricted. Appliances from a different era are item number 2. You'll frequently find appliances that look like they belong in a time capsule in the kitchens of many elderly Americans. Enormous microwaves that are heavier than a contemporary dishwasher. That old chest freezer in the garage, jam-packed with more ice crystals than food, or avocado green blenders from the 1970s still hidden in the corner. These appliances were state-of-the-art once. They represented advancement, comfort, and the capacity to support a family. However, after several decades, they are not only out of date, but also expensive anchors. The majority of people are unaware of this. Seniors cannot afford to ignore the silent energy drain caused by older appliances in the current economy. In the United States, utility bills are increasing annually. Additionally, even though you may believe that maintaining an old freezer will save you money, it's probably having the opposite effect. According to studies, current energy-efficient appliances might use 2 to 3 times as much electricity than older ones. This implies that your pocketbook is being silently depleted every day, that the chest freezer hums in the background, or every additional hour that the avocado green mixer is plugged in. These antiquated devices are robbing you, not helping you. And the emotional burden extends beyond financial obligations. Because these appliances evoke memories of their original purchase, seniors frequently hang on to them. Perhaps it was a family investment, a wedding present, or just a device that made life easier in those days. A chapter of your life may seem to be ending when you let go. But consider this. Every time you check your utility bill, is it worth going through that chapter again? Is it worth it to feel bad every time you see stuff that you don't use taking up room? In actuality, contemporary appliances are not only safer and more effective, but they are also made to meet the demands of the current world. A microwave that is compact and fits on your counter without taking up too much space. A portable blender that can be lifted with one hand. A freezer that doesn't create an ice cave in the garage. By upgrading, you're purchasing peace of mind in addition to financial savings. This is a new step that you can do. Determine which old appliance you haven't really used in years by taking a look around your kitchen and garage. Consider whether it is worth the money and space you are spending on it. Otherwise, give it away, recycle it, or discard it. Your home shouldn't feel like a historical exhibit, so only keep items that still match your life now. It ought to feel like a tool that will help you in the future. Refusing to let the past take advantage of the present is sometimes the best way to honor the past. Third item, antiquated safety delusions. In a senior's house, some of the most hazardous clutter doesn't even appear to be clutter. It's the things we depend on to keep us safe. Things that were designed to protect us are now so antiquated that they actually increase our vulnerability. Outdated smoke alarms with years-old batteries. After years of use, extension cords were wrapped with electrical tape. Rugs that curl at the edges and snag your shoes each time you cross the room should be thrown. These objects appear normal at first glance. Actually, a lot of elderly look at them and believe they are still functional. However, these are actually safety illusions. Things that appear to be protective, but subtly malfunction when you need them most. Consider that ancient smoke detector. Since the 1990s, it may have been installed on the same ceiling. It appears to be in good condition, and pressing the small test button may even cause it to beep. However, experts caution that after 10 years, detectors lose their sensitivity and might not make any noise at all during an actual fire. Consider the frayed cord that runs your lamp. You've convinced yourself it's not dangerous, taped it up, and possibly even hidden it beneath a rug. In actuality, though, it is subtly increasing your danger of an electrical fire. Then there are throw rugs, which are ornamental, recognizable, and possibly even nostalgic. However, there is a fall waiting to happen around every corner. A single fall can result in months of recuperation, medical expenses, and in certain situations, a lifelong loss of independence for elders. These things provide a false sense of security, which presents an emotional issue. You believe you are safe after looking at the smoke detector. You believe you fixed it when you see the cord. The rug adds warmth to the space, so you keep it. However, it's akin to bringing a damaged umbrella into a hurricane. It isn't until you need it that you realize how deadly it is. It's too late by then. The shift is here. Relying on the familiar does not lead to safety. It results from replacing what is no longer functional. It takes more than just maintenance to swap out an outdated detector for a new, contemporary type. It's a new line of effective defense. It's not about losing comfort when you throw out rugs and frayed cords. The goal is to feel more at ease each time you enter your house. Here's this week's activity item. Pick one object from your house that appears to protect you yet doesn't. It can be upgraded, replaced, or taken out completely. Because safety is something you create now, not something you remember. Additionally, you're doing more than just removing clutter when you let go of antiquated safety illusions. You're ensuring that your house fulfills its promise to keep you safe. The fourth item is paper clutter that makes you look older. Most people associate clutter with closets full of clothing or boxes piled in the garage. However, paper is one of the most prevalent and often ignored forms of clutter among seniors. Not stacks of periodicals or newspapers, but the never-ending stream of Medicare pamphlets, insurance booklets that have expired, out-of-date medical instructions, and appliance manuals. Despite their little physical size, these piles are very heavy emotionally. Each piece of paper symbolizes a choice that needs to be made, a reminder that you need to investigate something, or a worry that you might discard something significant. Furthermore, these piles eventually clog not only your workstation, but also your thoughts. Consider the last time you required a single piece of information, such as an updated prescription note or your current insurance card. Before you finally found the proper pile, how many did you shovel through? How often do you find that current and expired forms are mixed together, making it difficult to determine which is correct? These piles of papers cause silent anguish for a lot of seniors. You're lagging behind, disorganized, perhaps even losing control, they whisper. And that mental burden no longer rests in a drawer when you're over 60. It now rests on your shoulders. There is a genuine emotional pull. A lot of papers can make you look older. It reduces your sense of competence, intelligence, and self-assurance in your capacity to run your own life. Because you ignore the mounds and persuade yourself you'll deal with them later, it can even prevent you from taking action. However, later is infrequent, and the mounds get bigger. This is the new remedy. Don't attempt to arrange all of the papers from the previous 2 decades. Make a single today folder instead. Only the things you really need at the moment should be kept in that folder. Your most recent bills, or financial documents, your updated medical records, or your current insurance policy. The remainder can be recycled, shredded, or digitalized. By taking just one step, you're not only cutting down on paper, but also your emotional burden. The change is strong. When your children or loved ones visit, they won't be distracted by piles of paperwork that make them worry about you, since you have a clear structure that says, this is what matters today. They will see self-assurance, clarity, and tranquility. Paper clutter doesn't simply wind up on the table at the end of the day. It lingers in your mind. Erasing your history is not the same as clearing it. It entails safeguarding the here and now, so that you can focus your energies on living rather than sorting through useless piles. The fifth item is clothing that is appropriate for a different time of year. In addition to clothing, many seniors' closets contain mementos of their former selves. Gowns rescued from weddings or formal banquets, formal suits previously worn at board meetings, and uniforms from decades of hard work are hanging there. These garments were formerly a source of pride. They stood for achievement, accountability, and a social role. However, those garments frequently become relics of the past at the age of 60. Not all hangers are made to hold fabric. It contains the silent message of who you once were, and that message is more significant to many people than the actual clothing. In actuality, the majority of these clothes don't accurately represent your life nowadays. How often do you sit at the kitchen table wearing that fitted suit? When was the last time you didn't just remember wearing that glistening gown? However, letting go feels almost like betraying yourself, since they were costly, sentimental, or connected to years of arduous labor. Seniors frequently ask themselves, "What if I need it someday?" Yet they know deep down that day rarely arrives. The clothing, on the other hand, clog the wardrobe and subtly inform you that your best years are over. The emotional toll is shown here. You perpetuate a story that no longer serves you when you begin your day by gazing into a wardrobe full of clothing from a previous stage of life. Instead of enjoying the current chapter, it can make you feel as though you are living in the past. And confidence is important for elders. Your clothing is more than just fabric. It's how you feel at home and how you show yourself to the outside world. This is the new viewpoint. Getting dressed for today brings back happiness and confidence. Creating a closet that embraces your current self is more important than getting rid of all your memories. Wear comfortable, fashionable, and easy-to-wear clothing that suits your lifestyle for the occasions that truly make your days. Church services, neighborhood walks, get-togethers with friends, or family visits. Give away or reuse items that are no longer useful to you. A sensible move. Right now, pick 3 clothes that give you a sense of vitality and self-assurance. Display them prominently in your closet. Next, pick 1 item from the past, such a dress, a suit, or a uniform, and ask yourself if it truly reflects my life now, or if I'm holding on to it to remind myself of who I was. It could be time to disclose it if the latter is true, because you shouldn't let your wardrobe serve as a museum of your past self. It ought to represent the dynamic, competent individual you are now. As each item you remove from a hanger proclaims, "This is me now," you'll notice that you're standing straighter, smiling more broadly, and navigating life with greater ease and happiness. The multiples that steal your story is item 6. See how many extras you have hiding in plain sight as you take a tour around your house. Not only blankets or cups, but 5 black umbrellas leaning in the closet, stacks of unopened picture frames or unopened kitchen appliances from previous holidays. Duplicates appear to be harmless at first glance. Here's the secret, though. They dilute meaning in addition to taking up space. Nothing feels unique when everything is replicated. Among 10 other mugs, the one that previously held fond Sunday memories is buried. The blanket your youngster used to snuggle up and vanishes into a stack of unnecessary extras. Multiples distort your life's narrative, making sentimental items seem inconspicuous. Why is this important? Because duplicates are frequently kept by elderly as an unnoticed safety net. You learned that more meant survival when you were growing up in a time of scarcity. Nowadays, however, more does not equate to safety. Less connection to the things that truly matter results from it. Those indulgences keep you stuck in a cycle of excess, rather than preparing you for tomorrow. Here's a new perspective on things. Not all duplicates are clutter. They are ancient thieves. They keep you from seeing the one tool you genuinely reach for each day, or the one quilt that has real significance. Maintaining multiples does not increase security. The very things that tell your story are being buried. This is the shift then. Which single item in this category actually represents me today? Is a better question to ask than which one should I get rid of. Pick one, honor it, and let the others go. All of a sudden, The extras that clutter your life are gone from your home. It is full of fundamentals that make it unique. Because having a lot of blankets or can openers isn't a sign of true security at this point in life. It's about understanding that everything around you has meaning, worth, and a role in the narrative you're still writing. The seventh item is ornamental shadows. Not all clutter can be arranged in boxes or heaps. Under the guise of decor, it drapes across windows, sits on shelves, or hangs silently on the wall. Many seniors believe that these ostensibly beautiful items are actually shadows that give the impression that the house is older and heavier than it truly is. Your desired natural light is now blocked by heavy dark curtains that used to appear attractive. A room's light is subtly absorbed by dusty wall hangings that haven't been cleaned in decades. Artificial flowers that have faded and become lifeless instead convey a feeling of neglect. Although these objects don't initially appear to be clutter, they alter the mood of your house on a daily basis. This is the emotional reality. Energy is equal to light. Seniors frequently complain of feeling depressed, worn out, or disengaged, but many are unaware that their environment contributes to the issue. Imagine spending hours in a room with the curtains shut, the flowers completely dead, and the walls lined with black decor. It lowers your mood in addition to the room's brightness. Natural light has been shown to enhance cognition, increase energy, and improve sleep. However, shadows masquerading as ornaments fill far too many houses of people over 60. These ornamental shadows have a delicate yet potent weight. They whisper, "Keep things as they've always been." They anchor you in a style or atmosphere that no longer fits the life you want to live today. And because they've hung there for so long, you stop noticing them until one day you realize the room feels sad, even though nothing looks wrong. Here's the new frame. Brighter surroundings equal a brighter you. Opening the curtains, replacing heavy drapes with light sheers, swapping out dusty wall pieces for a clean, simple frame or mirror. All these changes aren't about redecorating. They're about reclaiming energy. Even replacing a faded artificial plant with a single fresh flower in a vase can transform a space from tired to alive. A practical step you can take today is to walk into one room of your home and ask yourself, does this space feel light or does it feel weighed down? Notice the curtains, the wall hangings, the decoration. Choose one item that no longer lifts you up and remove it. Watch how quickly the atmosphere changes with even one less shadow in the room. Because your home should not age you, it should energize you. And when you clear away the decorative shadows, what's left isn't emptiness. It's light. It's life. It's a space that makes you feel younger, brighter, and more alive each time you walk through the door. Item 8. Gifts you never wanted but still keep. Some of the hardest clutter for seniors to face isn't the old furniture or the dusty papers. It's the gifts. The souvenir plate from a trip you never took but someone thought you'd like. The gadget that's been sitting in its box for 5 years because you never had a use for it. The sweater you wore once out of politeness but never touched again. These aren't just objects. They are emotional landmines. You don't keep them because you need them. You keep them because you feel guilty letting them go. Guilt is powerful. Many seniors were raised with the belief that a gift should be treasured forever, no matter its usefulness. To part with it feels ungrateful, even disrespectful. So instead of making a decision, the item gets tucked into a closet, a drawer, or a box in the garage. Years pass, and suddenly your home is holding on to dozens of things you never chose for yourself, but that still take up your space, your energy, and your peace of mind. Here's the emotional trap. Every time you see that unused gift, it doesn't remind you of love. It reminds you of obligation. Instead of lifting you up, it weighs you down, and that quiet pressure builds. Your home should be filled with things that reflect who you are, not who someone else thought you should be. Here's the fresh perspective. If it's costing you peace, it's too expensive to keep, even if it was free. A gift's purpose is to bring joy to the receiver, not guilt. Once it no longer serves that purpose, its job is done. You are not betraying the person who gave it to you by letting it go. In fact, freeing it allows it to find someone else who might truly need it. Here's an action step. Choose one gift you've been keeping out of guilt. Hold it and ask yourself, does this item still serve me? Or is it only here because I feel I should keep it? If it doesn't serve you, release it without apology. Keep the memory of the giver, but let go of the object. Because at the end of the day, your home should reflect your life, not someone else's choices. And when you clear away the gifts you never wanted, you're not rejecting the people who gave them. You're honoring yourself. You're choosing peace over pressure. And that choice will always be the best gift you can give yourself. Item 9. Holiday Excess Bins Toy. For many seniors, the attic, basement, or garage hides a secret burden. Bins upon bins of holiday decorations. Cracked ornaments wrapped in yellow tissue. Strings of lights so tangled they haven't worked in years. Oversized seasonal figures that once brought excitement, but now sit gathering dust, too heavy to carry up the stairs. These bins are meant to symbolize joy, but in reality, they often bring stress, guilt, and even physical risk. The emotional truth is this. Holiday clutter carries memories. Every ornament, every wreath, every oversized decoration feels tied to family tradition. Letting go can feel like letting go of the joy itself. But here's the hard reality. Those bins aren't creating joy anymore. They are creating obstacles. They take up storage space, make decorating overwhelming, and often sit unopened year after year. Instead of adding to the season, they turn celebrations into chores. Think about it. How many times have you put off decorating because just the thought of dragging those boxes out felt exhausting? How many lights have you tested only to find half the bulbs dead? How many times have you felt guilty because you couldn't bring yourself to unpack it all? The season that's meant to bring peace and connection becomes weighed down by clutter, disguised as tradition. Here's the fresh shift. Celebrations are about people, not bins of broken decor. Your family remembers the laughter around the table, the warmth of your presence, the food you prepared with love, not how many Santa figurines line the shelves. The truth is, no one notices if you use fewer decorations. What they notice is your energy, your smile, and your ability to fully enjoy the moment. So, here's a practical step. Open your holiday bins and be honest. Keep the decorations that truly bring you joy. Maybe a handmade ornament from your child, a small centerpiece you still love, or a few lights that brighten a window. Release the rest. Donate what still works. Recycle the broken, and free yourself from bins that only collect dust. Because the holidays aren't stored in plastic containers, they are stored in the hearts of the people who share them with you. By letting go of excess, you give yourself the freedom to actually enjoy the season instead of dreading it. And that's the kind of holiday memory that will outshine any decoration. Outdated items don't just take up space in your home. They take up space in your life. They sit quietly in corners, on shelves, in closets, and in bins. And while you may not notice them every day, you feel their presence. They silently drain your energy, crowd your rooms, and make daily living feel heavier than it should. The truth is, every piece of clutter has weight. Not just physical weight, but emotional weight. And when your surroundings are heavy, your spirit begins to feel heavy too. Letting go isn't about erasing your past. It's about protecting your future. Every outdated chair you no longer sit in, every paper stack you no longer need, every holiday bin you never open again. All of these represent more than clutter. They represent old chapters that are over. Releasing them doesn't mean you forget the joy they once brought. It means you honor that joy, but choose not to let it hold you back. With each item you release, you're giving yourself more freedom, more safety, and more peace. Think about how it feels to walk into a room that is light, open and filled only with things that support you today. There's a calmness that comes from knowing everything has a purpose, and nothing is there just because you felt guilty letting it go. Instead of tripping over the past, you're walking confidently into the present. That's what decluttering outdated items really does. It lifts the invisible weight you've been carrying, sometimes for decades, and replaces it with clarity. Your home should support the person you are today, not hold you hostage to yesterday. You are not the clothes you once wore, the appliances you no longer use, or the stacks of paper that keep you second-guessing. You are the person standing in this moment, still capable of creating joy, connection, and memories that matter. Now, by letting go of outdated things, you create space not just in your home, but in your heart and mind. So, I'll leave you with this question. Which outdated item in your home surprised you the most? Be honest. I read every single comment because your stories matter. And if this video gave you even a spark of courage to start, hit like, share it with a friend over 60, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because your home should grow with you, not trap you in the past. This is your chance to choose freedom, safety, and peace, one outdated item at a time.